Hi, I am Taylor Wagner. I am here with Mac Weist and Lainey Mullane.
I didn't know you'd say it.
Okay, did I pronounce it correctly?
Yeah.
Mullane or Mullane?
Mullane.
Mullane.
Ooh.
Yeah. Lainey Mullane has such a rolls off the tongue sometimes.
She changed her Instagram handle, so it's official.
The only reason I married John is so I could take his last name.
You know what?
Yeah.
Hey, you made it.
Yep.
Sometimes that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what marriage is about, actually.
It is, yeah.
Okay. We're going to chit chat about coaching today and kind of what that looks like and maybe what we want it to look like as well. To start, what does good coaching look like to you?
Oh, that's a hard hitter
Yeah.
off the bat.
That's
is
a
a
loaded
hard hitter.
question, too. That's like so many things could fall
Yeah.
under that.
True. That's a broad question, but I think, so broad answer then for that. I think good coaching comes down to relationships in essence. I think that's where I would at least start with good coaching. It's all about mutual respect, building relationships, building trust. So I think that has to be the center focus, and then you just kind of branch out from there. But I don't think you can, I don't think you could be a good coach without that, but I really do think that's central to being a good coach.
Yeah.
No, I agree, because the trust part of it, the relationship side, that's how you're going to get an athlete, a player to do what you're trying to coach. Like you could have someone on our end, the sports performance side, who super scientific and knows exactly how to progress a certain movement or how to heal an athlete's pain. But if they're not responsive to how you're coaching and they are not putting in the effort to what you want them to do, it's going to go nowhere.
When it comes down to it, anyone can write a good program. I can make you sweaty, I can make you tired, I can make you hate your life, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you're missing that key relationship piece, coaching is only going to go so far for that athlete.
Do you think we see enough of that relationship building practice across the board in general for youth athletes, even the college pro athletes? Do you think that kind of coaching style exists? Is it on the rise? Are we getting closer to maybe that type of coaching?
I would say I think we're trending that way. Especially I would say within the last decade. I think things are really trending, especially with this new generation. I think this new generation is really pushing us to be less transactional. Where in the past, I think it was like, whatever I say you do, you're going to do. No pushback, no whatever. I don't care if you're tired. I don't care if you're sore. I don't care if you had a bad day, right? Like, whereas now I think we're becoming more open to conversations and having those nuances. And like when it comes down to it, I want them to enjoy training.
100%. And I feel like those like almost fear tactics that have been used before have proven to not work.
Yeah.
Over and over and over and over again. At the youth level, at the high school level, at the collegiate level. Like we've seen it time and time again. And it just, I think more than anything, creates burnout.
Yeah.
Like kids don't want to be involved.
Yeah. And I think
anymore.
Then, you know, and especially if that's happening at such a young age, they're not going to want to continue with that sport. Exactly. You know, through if they're wanting to go pro, like, well, if this is how it's going to be, you know, for the next 10 years, do I really want to go pro?
Well, and going back to the relationship side, if you have that relationship with each one of your athletes, you know how they're going to respond to a certain type of coaching and how can you effectively communicate and coach to this player versus this player. Because if you scream at that one player, they're going to shut down and not move a muscle the rest of the game or in here in the gym. But that response is maybe what another player needs to kind of like light a fire under them.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And navigating each like player, it's so fun. It's so fun trying to figure out like what kind of feedback works for one versus another.
No, I agree. I think if, you know, in my mind, if we were still so transactional like we used to be in the past, like I wouldn't enjoy doing what we do.
Agree.
Like, you know, I enjoy like coming in and getting to know each athlete and what makes them tick. So that is the fun part to me.
I 100% agree. It's so fun. And I think it's fun for both sides, like to allow somebody to be themselves and come into our space and be themselves. And we can also be our genuine, authentic selves. Like it just makes the environment, one, more welcoming, but also just so much more fun for everyone. Like, I love being goofy. It's okay. What do you think about, we talk about, honing in on different athletes. What kind of feedback in your experience works, work? What are we seeing?
I think it is different by age group, and I do think it's different by gender as well. I think men, boys, whatever you want to call them, take things differently than women, girls. But I will say, just across the board, I have found not very many people respond to like straight up, I'm yelling in your face. Like, and I'm not giving and I'm
breaking news, everyone.
And I'm not giving you any constructive criticism. I'm literally just putting you down, right? Like, we never, like that.
I'm like, why?
Right. That never works.
Why are we doing that? Why are people doing that?
Right. Or like we were talking earlier, like punishments, like, hey, if we mess this up, this is the punishment for that. That only causes more like stress and anxiety, and again, like broken trust, and the relationship like sours.
Yeah. And then that kind of fear of failure trickles into your mind of, oh, if I mess up again, or if I do that again, I'm just going to get yelled at. Like, I'm just not going to put myself in that situation again if I know what the outcome is going to be. Just getting yelled at.
And then we never reach our true potential. We just freaking float because we're afraid to do wrong.
Yeah.
Which is silly business.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, definitely depends on getting to know who's in front of you and who you're working with. And, I think you're really good at the younger crowd, and just being able to tailor their needs, to, and what they need for the session. And you excel at that. Not that I can't do that, but you just connect really well with that age group.
Thank you.
Whereas I feel like, I do a little bit better job being a little bit more, I don't want to say strict, that's the wrong word, but being able to hold them accountable for their actions in the gym and give them constructive criticism in a way that is helpful.
Yeah.
And not like, hey, I'm here to like cut you down, but hey, like, that was a good set. Here's what we can improve on in the next set though.
Yeah, it's conversational. It's like asking, what did you feel?
And I think for me, something I found as like both on the field and off the field, just through my career as an athlete, the coaches that you really cared about you, that gave you your respect. Like, I wanted to respect them because of what they did to prepare a session, or I knew how much they wanted me to succeed or grow in this way. And that made me want to work even harder for them. Like, I see how much you're pouring into me. Of course, I'm going to give all my effort and try to reach what my potential if you see that in me.
Yeah. And I think that goes the opposite direction too. Like, if you're with a coach who doesn't create that environment, you don't want to play for them. You don't want to play for that type of coaching style where you are constantly just being torn down. Yeah. So I love that. I love that point too. Definitely different between kids and the older high schoolers.
Oh yeah. Which, but at that point it should be, if the level of play is different and stuff. But I mean, those are widely different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. And they have different expectations also in terms of level of play. Yeah. Like, if we're working with high schoolers whose aspirations are collegiate or beyond versus playing in high school.
Yeah. Yeah. And even the younger kids, like, just keeping things pretty broad.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we've also gotten so specific in other aspects. Like, I mean, we work primarily with soccer athletes, so we will obviously use that as an example. But training has gotten so much more intense. They practice so many more nights a week than we grew up practicing.
Right.
And it's so specific now. Yeah. And so all they practice is soccer all year round, 24/7. So
starting at like U10.
Yeah. So when they're in here, it needs to be a little bit less structure when they're young like that.
Right. Less structure and just experiencing different playful environments, I think, is
Yeah.
huge.
Because I definitely have seen in some of our youth and high school athletes, even here in the gym, they make a mistake or they're trying out a movement for the first time. It's the automatic, like looking directly at us for
Directly at us or directly at their parents. It's
at the parent too for feedback or almost like, am I doing it right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like this is an exploration for yourself as an athlete.
Right. We want you to experience, again, quote, failure so you can learn to do things more effectively, more efficiently, and feel the difference in sensations more than anything. You know when something feels right, which I think is, again, a part of, like you're talking about, exploration for sure.
It's a lot of questions.
Well, it's really just 4 questions, but we're
okay.
diving into a lot of them, which is good. How do you feel like coaching, maybe specific to your style, maybe not, impacts skill development? Like what types of things are you doing? Are you avoiding to help these kids develop, maybe as an athlete or outside of sport?
Yeah, I think that one goes back to just a little bit what we were talking about everything else being so specific so early on. I think, and yes, as they get older and we do have specific goals and, you know, milestones we want to reach, sure. But at the end of the day, I think the most, like the best athletes you see grew up playing multiple sports.
Absolutely.
They're so well-rounded and can use their body in so many different aspects. So that is one thing I just, a lot of sessions I like try to get them to like problem solve and be weird.
Yeah.
Like, can we jump over this hurdle in 4 different ways instead of like, hey, this is how I want you to jump over this hurdle and there's no other way that you can do it. So like,
Don't land with your knees over your toes and you need to be at a 90-degree angle.
Right. Yeah. Stuff like that. Like, let's be a little bit less rigid and let's, and like, how does it feel to jump this way versus this way? And like, because in a game, you're just going to autopilot to whatever feels most natural. 100%. And a lot of times, like, that isn't what is coached in a gym.
100%. It's not the perfect technique.
No.
Which, again, comes down to exposure. I love that idea of trying different things. I think people fear that. They fear getting weird.
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah. It's like everything has to look, and you know, because social media is so big right now, like I have to post the flashiest drills and we have to always look like we're working hard, like in that, you know, I'm going
Buckets of sweat.
and like, look how perfectly this sprint looks. And then like watch someone, so take that person whose sprint looks perfect, watch them go play their sport.
Game, yeah.
Do they look the same? Probably not. Probably not. So taking that aspect, like let's use sprints, let's use speed, like can we get them into like more reactive components that are going to mimic games? So then we're not always thinking about opposite arm, opposite leg. I need to keep my torso bent at 45 degrees. You know, like it's not, that's not my first thought. I give them, you know, some kind of different like external, we use tennis balls a lot in here for things like that, but like I'm reacting to that and then I'm just letting my body do its thing and figure it out.
Sure. The chaotic versus the control.
Yeah. Trial and error. It's the same as like growing up and playing soccer. It's literally trial and error.
Yeah.
Like you are figuring out that worked when I hit the ball like that. That didn't. That pass wasn't good. Try it this way next time. I feel like as I've grown in my coaching, I give way less cues.
Yeah.
Just here's your one thought for the session, and then you problem solve the rest of it.
You explore, you feel it out.
Yeah.
Freaking love that. Do you feel like that is unique to our gym versus others?
I would say more unique. Yeah, I definitely would. And I hope people start adapting more of that.
Why do we think that people aren't trying a more chaotic game realistic environment versus being so controlled, so almost perfectionist.
That's what I was gonna say. It's that picture perfect look. Like the more game like motions, I think to some people don't appear as competitive or as scientific.
Doesn't look pretty.
It doesn't look exactly how it's supposed to, and that's the whole point behind it.
Yeah.
Is getting the exploration of the body and the movement.
Or like, why are you using tennis balls and why are we using our hands if we're all soccer players and we only have the ball at our feet? Like push back on that. Like, okay, so we can just like be well-rounded athletes.
Yeah.
Like, so we don't just have to be soccer players. We could, like, later in life, I
Right.
could go play tennis and probably pick it up pretty easy versus like never doing anything with my hands.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it comes down to like you are so much bigger, your life is so much bigger than your sport, than your one sport that you've chosen to focus on. Like that is such a small percentage of your life. Can we just build robust people, robust athletes?
Heck yeah.
Which is crazy, the culture that we have the perspective to instill and want to create in here, but also instilling it and creating it for all of our athletes without them really knowing in some ways. Like
Yeah.
them, you know, the game like things we do are normal because they know our environment.
Right.
But on the outside looking in, it's like, what's going on in there?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that we're a little sneaky about it, but they love it too. Like our athletes
it.
love experiencing different things, and I think again it comes back to burnout. Being allowed to try different things is huge. Like
Yeah.
as much as I love my sport and I love soccer and our kids love their sport, like trying something new and being competitive and having fun in that sense is also so beneficial for your freaking brain.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. So talking about our athletes, how does the structure look? Like if we were to compare, like we were talking about our high school athletes versus our younger kids, what are you seeing that's the biggest difference? What is our approach? What do you feel like is the biggest goal for each age group?
Yeah, and I think if we take the different ends of the spectrum, let's compare our peak group, which is like our high school athletes who have been with us for a while. They've done strength training before. Most of them want to go play in college versus our youngest athletes, our foundations group that is foundational. So it is more exploratory, more play. We're introducing them to concepts of weightlifting, but they have more freedom to explore. So I think the biggest difference, if you're just looking at the two on paper, are high school athletes who have aspirations of college. Those are going to be more structured. They have a lift. The lift is specific to their goals and what we're trying to accomplish, not just short-term goals, but long-term goals. Whereas our foundation kids, it's just more about getting to understand their bodies. They're growing rapidly at this time. So like
Crazy.
some of them shoot up 3 inches and then that's like, oh, I forget how to like actually like move.
And it's like week by week. I swear they grow like 2 inches every other time I see them. It's wild.
Yeah. So that one is more just, hey, can we get you to move and understand where your body is in space and how to orient yourself in all of these different weird positions. So I think that's the main difference there. And then also, like with our older athletes, just trying to get them to take ownership. As we get older, as we get into college, especially if we're wanting to play collegiate sports, like you are going to be required to take ownership in not only your training, but your recovery, your sleep, your homework. Like you don't have mom and dad there to like hold your hand anymore. So getting them to also take ownership and hear of their work, that's a huge component, not only for setting them up for sport, but setting them up for life.
Yep.
Setting them up for life.
Yeah.
Man, I love that. What other ways do you feel like we're setting these kids up for life? Because I see it every day.
Yeah. Again, I think it comes back to the relationships we're building with them and like allowing them space to communicate and talk openly. And we're very into not just telling them, but like asking them, right? Like, how did that feel? Versus like, this is where I want you to feel it, or this is how you should feel. Like, I think because we ask so many open-ended questions like that, then they are understanding their voice. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so then that sets them up to be confident and have a voice in the future.
Yeah.
Well, and it goes, I think another part for the life aspect is our goal is to get you where you want to be as an athlete, as an individual. But at the end of the day, we care about you and
Yes.
your health, your well-being, not how many goals are you scoring or if you're starting or what
much
school you're
weight-
going to,
How much weight you lifted in
how
here.
much weight you can lift. Like we care about you growing into a person that's going to go out and do good things in this world.
Yeah. Oh.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's cool to see when we get new athletes in here and they like don't know what to expect, and then getting to work with them for that first week, that second week, and like how much they open up is really cool. And then just getting to know kind of how they tick, and then two, just like them understanding like we're here to make mistakes, we're here to fail, we don't care. Like I would rather you see you fail 5 times over at a jump that is maybe too high for you right now than hit it perfectly at a height that I know you can
And stay
easily
comfortable,
get.
right?
Yeah, and stay comfortable. Like we
get out of
want
the comfort zone.
Yeah, we want you to push comfort zones and fail and try again and learn.
And what's crazy is like we initially are the ones to ask, okay, what did that feel like? Did it feel good? Did it feel weird? Like what sensation are you feeling? And eventually I feel like I start to stop asking that because I see these kids pick up on it like on their own. They're like, that wasn't right. Let me try again.
Right.
Let me try to make it better.
I need more weight on this. This isn't pushing me enough.
Yeah.
100%.
Just I think starting those conversations is huge for them. But again, it goes back to outside of sport. It goes back to outside of soccer. It's a life thing. Like, recognizing that discomfort.
Yeah.
It's such a huge part of life, and how you approach it and adapt to it.
Yeah.
Is.
And knowing, like allowing them and knowing that it's okay to fail, like allowing them to fail in here and just you carry that through life. Like, I mean,
Absolutely.
You are going to, fail, try again.
Yep. And reminding them that progress isn't always linear. Like maybe you have a great day at this weight at Trap Bar this week, and next week you can't hit 15 pounds close to it.
Right.
But that isn't the discouragement. That's, hey, we'll get back in it next week and see where we can go from there.
Right.
Because it's the same thing in life.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
I wish school was more like that. Like, I wish it wasn't so rigid, like, you get an A, you get a B, you get a C, you know? Like, hey, like, you had a rough week, you had a lot going on. Like, instead of giving you a C on this test, you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
100%.
Like, hey, let's just try again next week.
100%. Yeah, I wish. Well, I just think about like that kind of feedback, how I would feel in school and how that would dictate my day or week or anything. And I don't know. I agree. I think there's a more productive way we could present our kids with feedback, criticism, whatever you want to call it.
Well, and especially, and also the sports side is the balance in here of it's okay to fail. I think sometimes in sport, you just don't want to fail, and there's so many expectations and pressure. And while there is pressure in here to succeed, it's not the end all be all.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think another piece is like the word wrong, like using the word wrong. Instead of telling somebody they're doing something wrong, if we present it in a way where, hey, can we do it better? Can we do it differently? Can we feel something different to make it better? Instead of saying wrong, that just feels so finite, and there's no room to change in my mind. So, yeah.
All right, so you talked a little bit about like playing one sport, playing multiple sports. Flacco, you coach of Casey Current, got his first signing. 15-year-old Alex Pfeiffer signs with the KC Current. What do you think about a 15-year-old getting that contract, stepping in at that level? What is that like for him?
Let's just start with like hats off to her. I mean, that's an
Yeah.
incredible.
That is so true.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Accomplishment, achievement.
yeah.
To play at that level at that age is hard for me to comprehend.
I can't imagine. Like, I put myself in her shoes. Like, obviously, yeah.
15-year-old Lainey. What would she do?
Oh, your mom driving you to practice?
Yeah, that's so true.
I didn't even think about that. Oh, she's probably got her permit.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like, and like, I don't know if this is how Current's locker room is, but like, and there used to be like a limit on like, you had to be 18 to be in the locker room. I'm sure that changes now that they have a 15-year-old. But like, can you imagine? Like, oh, I can't be in the locker room because there's adults in the locker room and I'm not an adult yet.
Yeah.
Like the age of being 18, you're an adult. And so now she stepped into this league playing with adults. Like, that's wild.
Yeah.
And we even have some of our own athletes that would practice, play with the Current or help them with practices as they needed players, but to actually be signed and contracted and a member of the team at that age of 15, hats off.
Mind blowing. Yeah, no, I think it's very impressive. First of all, I do hope that she gets opportunities to, live the life of a teenager and do all those fun things too.
100%.
But yeah, I think stepping into that environment at 15, it's going to be a really, really good challenge.
I think it's different being a women's team opposed to like if a 15-year-old stepped into a man's professional team. There's some difference with maybe how she's treated, how she's taken care of, how she's brought into the team.
I think there's going to be difference, especially just on the female side, it is newer. I think for guys in the professional standings, especially in soccer, it's more normal. Overseas, that's what you grow up to do. You're in the academy, you're in that club from the age of 6 years old, and that's your whole path up to you're 14 and 15 and get signed. Whereas here, we don't have an academy side for the girls, and so that's why when you see a 15-year-old or a high schooler get signed, it's a little bit, it catches you off guard because it's not as
Definitely.
common yet.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, and I mean, she's obviously been on the U.S. development teams. So I think the level of play for her has been high for a
Yes.
while. So that is helpful. Obviously, I think she is probably mature in her age and knowing that she is stepping into a high level. Like, that's not lost on her. But obviously, the level of a NWSL team is high. So I think she will definitely have to work at it hard. I also don't think the girls are going to take it easy on her, as they shouldn't. Like, she is stepping into this level. She needs to be pushed. But that in the same breath, they're not going to be, I don't see them being mean.
Yeah.
But I see them welcoming her in, but also, hey, we're
gotta
here
earn it.
to work. This is our job.
Yep.
This is your 15-year-old job. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty crazy. But she is the two-time national championship ECNL Player of the Year. Last
Yeah.
time national.
Stud.
She scored a hat trick, so she's a stud.
Yeah.
She's ready for it. All right, next one. So Lonely Planet just said Casey Mo is a top 10 vacation destination. So I'm curious, if you have maybe friends or people that come to Kansas City that aren't from the city, are there places that you take them specifically? Like, what's fun about Kansas City for you?
Oh man, what's fun about Casey?
I feel like Casey's like the barbecue spot. I
Hell
feel like
yeah.
that's the number one place where my head goes. Like, anyone who has never been to KC, if you like barbecue, you have to get barbecue. Oklahoma Joe's is probably my favorite.
Casey Jones.
Yeah, it's Casey.
That and
Jones.
Jack
Excuse me, KC Joe's. Yes, it's not Oklahoma Joe's anymore. Sorry.
That just shows how long you've been eating it.
Right?
though.
It's
Back
OG.
when it was the
OG.
Oklahoma Joe's.
Yeah.
No, man. I mean, also soccer is just huge in Kansas City.
Yep.
So anywhere, sporting games. Now we got the Comets that are going to be coming to play now. Chiefs, all sports are
The new Current
obviously
Stadium.
the new Current Stadium.
The
Let's freaking
stadium's
go!
so sick.
It's gonna be beautiful. I can't wait.
I
'Cause
know.
I'm pretty sure they're grass fields. They're not
Yeah.
turf blessed because
I also feel like the Crossroads has gotten really fun. So many cool things down there.
All the districts downtown, Power and Light.
Yeah.
There are always like, I feel like the quirkiest little spots in the River Market and
Market.
The River Market's my favorite.
it's so flippin' cute. There are like 50 billion coffee spots.
So many coffee spots.
I could never give you a favorite because I have no idea.
Yeah.
There's so many good places to go.
And there's a good rooftop bar scene downtown too.
There is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I was surprised to see Casey ranked.
Me too.
That is surprising.
You are not alone.
But kind of along the same line, so Joe's was named the first restaurant in the new Casey Current Stadium. They're going to be unveiling a new restaurant every Tuesday on their Twitter. So what other food do you think Kansas City Stadium?
What are some Casey staples?
This is like the airport too. How they're doing all the local joints
Yeah.
at the airport.
I feel like they have to pull something from, you know what? I kind of feel like Bowling's.
That's in the airport. They're definitely
Yeah, and it's in the River Market, in the plaza. There's like several. They're out here in Kansas.
Yeah.
There might be one up north. I don't know. but-
I wonder if they would do like the roaster. I know that's not really like a stadium
Yeah.
restaurant per se, but like the coffee and
Yeah.
the bakery.
Roastery, like in
Yeah.
pop-up shops and cities and stuff.
Okay,
I
that
feel
would
like the roastery could partner with Boulevard because you know
Boulevard,
Boulevard.
yeah.
Boulevard's gonna be in there.
Yep.
Like coffee mix up with the roastery or Messenger.
Get your quirk and get your coffee. You're
No,
double
I
fisting.
I meant like a coffee stout or something. But that too, I like that. Just double fist a beer. And
that
a
was a
coffee.
good idea too, though.
Heads are in different spaces. No, that's a good idea. That'd be tasty and maybe dangerous. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll come. Put me on their marketing team or something. I'll think of something.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Lainey for marketing. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
I feel like there needs, I mean, if they're going to follow the airport, like the airport has a ton of barbecue. They have like an entire barbecue
Yeah.
in the airport. So I feel like maybe pulling another staple in, maybe an Arthur Bryant's
Yeah.
or something like that in there is probably going to happen. And then I'd like to see what kind of pizza joint you're going
Oh, pizza.
You know what would be awesome? Town Topic.
That'd be
pretty fun.
That would be literally iconic.
Okay, what about this? Think about this. There's a rotating vendor.
Ooh.
Because there are
Yeah.
so many good like truck vendors, like street tacos.
Yeah, true.
Are you kidding me? I will eat 50.
I bet they will put a Mexican restaurant in there.
They have
I hope
to.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the airport, I know, like, kind of piggybacking on what you're saying, they did a contest for, like, barbecue, where, like, they had a cook-off and, like, all this stuff, and people that won got those ones.
Yes.
And, like, put it in the store.
That's
It's, like,
awesome.
Like a year.
That's damn.
Somebody wants it.
Yeah.
That's what we do it.
And I feel like, that's a great
And it
idea.
highlights people who aren't the big name barbecue or
KC
Mexican.
natives, get them in there. I love
Yeah.
that. That'd be so cool.
That would
Again,
be.
it goes back to tacos for me.
I love tacos.
Somebody give me some tacos.
And I'm getting hungry. That was talking about food.
I appreciate you having me on today.
Our first guest
Yes,
on our first
thank you
episode.
for being here.
If people wanted to know like more, where do they find us?
You can find us on Instagram
Ooh.
at a greater you and website greateru.com.
Yep.
And come back here for some more content.
Yeah, and just come into the gym and see us.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, come hang. Come
Come get
play.
weird.
Yeah, come get weird.
Don't you sit